and welcome to This Is Apple. What are you doing?
There have been a lot of updates this week on the Apple ecosystem, and I'll tell you there's one recurring theme. Fuck you, Lightning port.
So 2 new iPads have dropped just into our laps just randomly through blog posts.
And a video. They made a video.
They made a video.
It's a very nice video.
A lot of people who, they wait for the Apple events. Yeah. And I think Apple is very clearly saying with this that these are pretty minor upgrades. Yeah. And so they just kind of drop these just with
wanton abandon.
The first one we have is the iPad Pro, which is, for all intents and purposes, a very minor, just kind of generational spec bump. So now it includes an M2, which I don't know why.
Well, I mean, I get it.
And I do know why. But
why would they not?
I don't know why. The M1 was already way overpowered for the iPad because the software does not keep up with it whatsoever. You're putting a Ferrari engine in a Honda Civic.
Okay, so there are some advantages to the M2 over the M1, right? So you've got that ProRes encoding and decoding. You also have now DaVinci Resolve, which is available for iPad. Now, I'm not actually entirely sure if it's available for all iPads or just the Pros or whatever, but I
have to imagine it's just the Pros.
It's still a big deal, though. I mean,
it is a big deal.
How many years have we been begging Apple to bring Final Cut to the iPad, and DaVinci brings their full-fat, well, at least we assume the full-fat Resolve experience to iPad.
Look, I haven't looked into this because as of the time that we're recording this, it's kind of just been announced that this is coming. So we don't have all the information on that. However, it's not going to be an amazing experience for a lot of reasons. One, some of the Macs don't even handle Resolve at its fullest because is it going to have Fairlight? Is it going to have Fusion? I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to be an editor with some base correction. But you know what you want when you're doing color correction, which is what Resolve is known for?
A high quality mini LED display on the iPad Pro 12.9 inch?
Or a multi-display.
You mean the Thunderbolt port that supports external monitors?
No, it does not.
If you use LumaFusion today on an iPad with USB-C port, it will use your external monitor, full 4K, full screen video preview outside of Stage Manager. Apps can actually have dedicated outside external display support.
You can send it,
yeah,
but you can't. It's not like having a full-fledged external support where you can say, oh, I want to take this window and put it over here. I want to take this window and put it over here, which is kind of what you want for this. This is, again, we're kind of getting into we'll just buy a MacBook then. Yes, you can do all that, but it's with an asterisk, with limitations.
Sure.
And why at this point?
I guess my thought is just they are continuing to make progress. I know that people are so upset.
Just because they're making progress, it's still 10 years past when they could have done this.
Well, yeah, but the iPad, as of today, is now going to have a much more full-featured video editing bit of software. You're now going to have more performance, which is not super necessary, but is nice. The thing that I actually think is the weirdest about the new iPad Pro is that it actually doesn't have a lot of the upgrades from the new 10th gen base iPad.
Also true.
It does not have the camera on the top. As of now, the iPad still has it on the left side of the screen if you're actually putting it in the keyboard, which, let's be real, most people are probably going to be doing at this point. On top of that, the new iPad has a Smart Folio, which has a function row of keys on the top of the keyboard, something that, again, the iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard does not have. So it's almost like, in some ways, they just tossed an M2 chip into the new iPad Pro and just called it a day for another year. Whereas with the 11th or the 10th gen iPad, it's a little bit more of a full reimagining of what the iPad could do.
I think your paycheck is...
Sorry, my Pixel Watch and my Chromebook.
I realize that I'm the one we're in full Apple here, but I'm the one who's going to be given the most criticism. Because that leads us to the new iPad 10th gen.
It's yellow.
I'm baffled.
No, it's yellow.
Just because it's yellow.
I'll pay for yellow.
This is not replacing the base iPad. So if you still want chunky bezels and a home button, we got you, baby
and a
bird.
$300 iPad that's not super expensive.
So the 10th gen is...
a lot. It's $450.
It's pretty expensive, and it has some upgrades, but it also doesn't have some upgrades. It's a full redesign, so it looks like the Mini and the iPad Air.
The thing to me that's a little bit strange is that there are almost one or two too many iPads in the lineup. So you've got the $330 base iPad, which is completely unchanged. It's the 9th gen. Then up at $450, you have the new 10th gen iPad. Then you still have the iPad Air and the iPad Mini and the large and small size of the iPad Pro. It just feels like there's maybe a little bit of confusion. even like, okay, real talk. Can you recommend anyone to buy an iPad Air instead of the iPad? Like, I feel like you either get the 10th gen iPad at $450 or the iPad Pro at like $700 plus. Like, I don't think there's a lot of room in the middle for like an M1 chip and a better pencil. Like, to me, that's weird.
I mean, like the biggest thing with the Air was always like what the ProMotion. It doesn't have ProMotion.
It doesn't have ProMotion. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's such a little difference between the iPad and the iPad Air now.
This 10th gen here feels like, hey, do you want to pretend like you paid a lot of money for an iPad but don't actually want to? Let us give you this redesigned one which has none of the features of the Pro but looks just like it.
But Matt, it comes in yellow.
I swear to God, I'm gonna like if you buy the yellow one, I'm painting it fart brown. All right, it's very different than shit brown.
So what we've got here is this iPad is now USB-C.
It's great that they're actually moving away from it.
Yes, I'm gonna say this on the record right now. We are never going to see another Apple brand new product with a Lightning port again.
I disagree.
The things that came out today, we have not only the iPad 11th gen, which drops Lightning for USB-C. We also have a new Apple TV, which is a little bit of a more minor bump. But guess what? It's got a Siri remote with USB-C instead of a Lightning port. The only thing that they shipped today that has a Lightning port is the first gen pencil, which needs a Lightning to USB-C dongle charge on the iPad.
I have a much more weird prediction. And when I'm right about this next year, you can buy me a 2017
a yellow iPad. Sure, done.
I still say that like we're gonna see a portless iPhone in the very near future.
Nah, man. I think they're gonna go USB-C. I even think the next version of the iPhone SE will also be USB-C. I just think between the regulatory stuff and just the fact that everyone's kind of over it, like I think once they really start pulling the Band-Aid off, which I think they're in the process of doing right now, goodbye Lightning. Can we have a little eulogy for the Lightning port here? When the Lightning port came out in 2012 for the iPhone 5, we were either using the 30-pin iPod connector, which was bad, or we were using micro USB, which was probably just as bad, right? Lightning was the first kind of regularly used port that you could plug in on either side, which was terrific. And yes, USB-C is better now, but USB-C came out like 3 or 4 years after the Lightning port. While Lightning has gotten its fair share and is riding off into the sunset, and I'm gonna be happy to say goodbye to it, Lightning was a pretty good upgrade for a long time.
If Lightning was just USB 3 from day one, it would have been fine. Let's just break down some of these decisions. I know we've been all over the place with this. Do you know how much it costs to get a fully spec'd iPad, this 10th gen, with a keyboard and a mouse? Not a mouse, a pencil.
So $450 for the base iPad. It's $550 for the 256 gig. Then it's another $100 for the pencil. It's another probably $100, $130 for LT or 5G. And then I know that stupid Folio, which is admittedly a very nice looking keyboard, is $250. I'm gonna say you're probably looking at $900.
It is $1,100 for a maxed out iPad 10th gen. This is an old processor. This is not an M1.
A14. So it's from iPhone 12.
Yeah. It has like a premium like polish and a premium price tag. Yeah, it's got USB-C. Great, whatever. But it only has first gen pencil support.
Yeah, that's wild.
First gen.
That's wild.
Reminding you that the first gen pencil was one of the dumbest designed things ever with a male lightning port on it.
Yeah.
It was dumb from day one. But so now they say, okay, well, we're still going to use these pencils. Now you have to get a $9 adapter to go from USB-C to Lightning.
Look, I'm going to be super real here. If you're buying this 10th gen iPad, you should not be owning a pencil. If you want an iPad and you want an Apple Pencil, don't get the 10th gen iPad. Get literally any of the other iPads, which all support the newer, much nicer pencil that just snaps on the top of your device.
Yeah.
Can we also talk about this keyboard for a second? The keyboard seems nice, right? So you've got yourself, not only it's a Magic Keyboard style where you've got the trackpad, you've got the keyboard. It also comes now for the first time with a little kickstand. My only concern with it is that it costs $250, which is a lot of money considering that I'm using a Chromebook tablet, which does have a very similar idea. So I've got the removable sort of kickstand and the very strong removable, there we go. The very, very strong keyboard. You know what? This came with it. You know what happened when I bought this? Both the keyboard and the kickstand came for free, and the whole price was less than the iPad base.
We talked about the base iPad. That was a really good price for the base iPad.
Totally.
They had this like cycle where they were like, it was really good pricing for a lot of these products. The past couple of years, I feel like every video that we do on Apple now is going back to this pricing is going back to ludicrous.
The cheapest iPad is this 10th gen at $450, iPad mini at $500, and Air at $600. Not like crazy unreasonable, but like with most of these tablets, whether it's a Surface or whatever, you also have to generally factor in another $100 or in this case $250 for the keyboard and trackpad, which I think for me personally is a complete necessity for any kind of tablet that I want to get real work done on. My stupid little Lenovo here came with it for free. Does it need to be $250? I agree, it's a tougher sell because that $330, the 9th gen iPad has been such a good deal for so long. And that you can get away for, $400 or $500, even with, paying extra for the keyboard and everything like that, with a very usable device. But now it's like, I mean, you're going from $330 to $450 base. And then you throw in, like you said, the $250 keyboard, you want to upgrade more storage, 5G. I mean, you go down the list, even just with a couple of options, and suddenly you're well into pro laptop levels of money. You're well into what you could get an actual like iPad Pro for. It's not the deal that I think it was before.
The problem with iPad again though is to me it comes down to software. Like on an M1 iPad, you don't feel like a massive difference compared to even say like the Mini, which had an A15 in it.
Yeah.
Whenever someone asks me like, oh, what iPad should I buy? I usually just tell them like, buy the cheapest, newest one that you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
If you could save like $50 and it's a couple years older, maybe because they're gonna last forever.
Yeah, you want that
Like-
longevity in the software support. I just realized there are 5 iPads that you can now purchase today, and every single one has a different chip. 5 different chips in iPads. That seems aggressive.
No one should buy this 10th gen iPad for $1,100.
Oh, well, of course, yeah.
You should buy literally anything else.
I do think that's a little bit of a straw man argument because I think also no one should buy a $50,000 Mac Pro unless you're a very specific kind of person. But even if you stick with 64 gigs of storage, which is pretty minimal, but maybe you can get away with, and you want to get maybe like a cheaper keyboard, and then you don't get the pencil, you're still probably looking at $600. But you know that this iPad's gonna be so much better with that keyboard, and the fact that you're buying a $450 iPad with a $250 keyboard, that to me is wacky. Not even counting how absolutely stupid the stupid pencil is. I said stupid a lot because I think it's stupid. Can I say one thing that I'm kind of happy that they did?
What's that?
Both the iPad Pro and the iPad 10th gen still have a SIM card slot, which I don't think was a given considering that they just removed it on US
true.
iPhone. So at least while they do have 5G, at least you can still put a SIM card in. I almost think, can I throw you a little bit of a wild theory at you?
Throw me your wild theories.
I think that Apple finally feel confident enough in Stage Manager and iPadOS 16, which mind you, they had to make this decision well before it was actually ready, right? But I think they finally feel confident enough that the iPad is a true laptop replacement, that they feel confident that they can push these prices up and people will pay them. And I'll be honest with you, if this 10th gen iPad had Stage Manager, had totally solid, reasonable performance, and it was $450, you know what? That might be a reasonable deal. The problem is it does not have Stage Manager whatsoever. You have to go up to the iPad Air or the Pro to get that. And on top of that, this keyboard is so expensive.
That was the problem people had with the Mini, is they wanted to do Stage Manager with the Mini.
I want to do it with the Mini.
Because it's portable, like the portability of it made it like, oh, if I can just plug this into whatever monitor. There's so many decisions that seem like they were half-assed, and that's the nicest way I can say it. Yeah. It seems like they're very conscious of it, which is why they just decided to drop this in a blog post, because I can't remember the last time we had a full redesign of a product that was not in an event. We've had the non-event announcements, but they're usually just spec bumps like the iPad Pro. That's just
you know what though? They probably had to delay this. I bet the hardware was ready, but because iPadOS 16 wasn't ready, this was probably meant to be in the September event alongside the iPhone.
Still, but like, why not push it then for whenever we do like the Mac event? Obviously Apple's very fanfare of just like, this is the best iPad that we've ever made. They can't even say that about these. I was fine paying the $300 or whatever for the Magic Keyboard because it gave me something that like a Folio couldn't. It gave me a rigid.
Yes.
The iPad was self-sustaining.
Laptop.
I could put it on my lap. I could do whatever. You cannot do that with a kickstand like this. If you want to put it on like your lap or whatever, they don't really sit that great.
Well, it's the same problem with like a Surface, right? Where as much as I love like a Surface Pro or something, but it's never as comfortable on your lap when you don't have that full thing. I will say the only thing, while we have not tried the Magic Keyboard Folio, make sure to actually subscribe to Denki, because I know that Ken's gonna be doing a whole video on this as soon as we get our hands on it. But the one thing thing I liked about the Magic Keyboard was exactly that. It was sort of beefy enough and heavy enough that you could sit on your lap and use your iPad like a proper laptop. The problem though was that the limitations on how much you could rotate the screen was a little bit sketchy.
But they at least had a value proposition. I don't see a major value proposition of the Folio keyboard.
Well, I see the value. It's $250. I see the profit.
What do you guys think? Is this stupid? Again, I feel like most people are just going to tell us that all Apple products are garbage. But in this case, I'm with you on this one.
The iPad, the yellow iPad.
I don't care how yellow it comes.
I just think that some of this pricing is absolutely wacky. And the fact that it's $250 for a keyboard and it does not have Stage Manager, yeah, no. But it's yellow though, so I'll buy one.